Welcome back, everyone, to my series on American military bases in Latin America. And this video will be focusing on Puerto Rico, the Caribbean island of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has never been an independent country. It is a colony, a territory of the United States since 1898. The United States has military bases on the island of Puerto Rico since it's a U.S. territory. Currently, the United States only has an army base there, an air base, and several Coast Guard stations. Since the early 20th century, the United States has had a total, though, of at least 25 different military bases on the island, and I'll go into that later in this video. I think it's important, though, first that we go into how did Puerto Rico even become a U.S. territory. Originally, Puerto Rico was a colony of Spain, part of the Spanish Empire, going back to the 1500s. Puerto Rico and Cuba were the last two colonies that the Spanish had in the Americas, in the Caribbean, after the loss of Mexico and South America in the 1820s. And Cuba and Puerto Rico remained Spanish colonies until the Spanish-American War of 1898, when the United States decided to go with the Monroe Doctrine and kick out European powers from the hemisphere, and the U.S. decided to kick Spain out of the Caribbean, and they went to war in Cuba and Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico, instead of getting liberated, only exchanged owners from Spain to American owners. And that is how Puerto Rico ended up becoming an American territory since 1898, 300 years of being a Spanish colony and then becoming an American colony. And they have never been an independent country to this day. From 1898 until 1948, that's 50 years, the Puerto Ricans didn't even get to vote for their own governor. Instead, the President of the United States would appoint Americans to act as governor, to govern the island on behalf of the U.S. government. The Puerto Rican people didn't get any say-so in any of that. And the U.S. absolutely ran the show on the island. And so the United States tried to suppress any Puerto Rican independence activists. And the U.S. would actually do arrests and crackdowns on any Puerto Ricans who wanted independence and didn't want to be an American colony. Weird, huh? About the country that says it's all about freedom and democracy. The United States then, of course, started setting up military bases on the island, and this has also been a source of frustration for many Puerto Rican people. The military bases on their island and the use of them. One base that was a real source of frustration with the Puerto Rican population and the United States military was the Vieques bombing range. The island of Vieques, which is off the coast of Puerto Rico, was used by the U.S. Navy from 1941 until 2003 as a bombing range to drop bombs. The United States in the early 1940s forced all the original inhabitants and residents of the island off the island and then started using it for bombing. And many Puerto Rican people protested against this for decades until finally the United States Navy decided to close it down in 2003, and they are still currently having to clean up the island for unexploded bombs to this day. Some of the decommissioned U.S. military bases on the island of Puerto Rico, besides the Vieques bombing range, would also include the Roosevelt Roads U.S. Navy Station. The United States had a Navy base called Roosevelt Roads from 1943 until they closed it in 2004, deciding it was just no longer useful or necessary for the U.S. military any longer. Currently, the only U.S. Army base still on the island of Puerto Rico by the United States is Fort Buchanan, which was founded in 1923. And it's used by the U.S. Army, and they have used it, of course, for military operations on the other neighboring Caribbean islands, such as the Dominican Republic and Haiti in the past. The United States Coast Guard, as I mentioned, has a lot of stations throughout the island of Puerto Rico. The U.S. Coast Guard patrols a lot of the Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean from Puerto Rico, including things that, such as immigration, migrants trying to come by boat to the United States and elsewhere, as well as smuggling operations and so forth. The U.S. Coast Guard is very active on the island of Puerto Rico. So that's the end of this video, as the focus of the video was just about the American military bases on the island of Puerto Rico. There is much more to say about the 126-year-long American occupation of Puerto Rico, but those are separate videos to talk about, and there's a lot of other people who have talked about that. This video is just focusing on the history of just the American military bases on the island of Puerto Rico and their uses. And that is the end of this video. Thanks for watching.
Yo, Greg, yo, Jazzy,